Okay, go. So I think a lot of these issues were still on my mind when I attended a meeting that Gwen was at, and she was talking about advocating for seniors housing. That Carp, this particular chapter, had that as their mandate for the year. So I was very interested in that. But she also mentioned a particular project that she had in mind, which was a co-housing project. And a co-housing is a concept that I have been interested in for a very long time. And it involves a sort of sharing of resources and a number of people who will live in the same setting, in the same dwelling. So I think for purposes, in our environment right now, we're in a somewhat contracting economy, and money is getting tighter, and I just think it makes a lot of sense when people can pool their resources and live together. Families in general, I think this would work out very well. It's cost effective, and it's easy to build. It's there's a shorter turnaround time. You have more control with a smaller builder. You're not looking at investing a lot of resources in a very, very big complex. It takes a long time to deliver. So I think there's some issues there that are very good. But then I started thinking a little bit more about how that whole concept would translate to seniors and a lot of the issues that they have. And one of them is this feeling of not wanting to really be alone. And you're coming out of your home. A lot of people will go to an apartment or a condo as a sort of interim step. And yet really you just moved to residence. You don't really have any sense of community around you. So I got kind of excited thinking about that. I think it maintains a sense of independence, and yet it provides for socializing and companionship. And those relationships can be very significant. I know my mom has developed a lot of very close relationships where she is right now. And those are helping relationships. They are sort of keeping an eye on each other. How are you feeling today? And oh, you're having a bad day, or you're going down for lunch, or there's just that sort of interaction that goes on, and I think that's very comforting to her. There's also more control of diet and care in an environment like that, where you actually own your unit, and in this case we're talking about having a contracted caregiver that comes in to provide meals and do housekeeping, do laundry. So you eat in a common area, but you do go back to your own unit. And so you have this person who is fairly reliable, because you're also getting to know someone, not a change of staff every day and an ongoing rotation. So the diet is important to me. My mom has had a series of changes in the last 2 years, which sort of surprised me. When she went in to her retirement community, she had traditionally been a person with very low blood pressure, and the doctor would always comment on this. Now, in 2 years, it's been a slow but steady move, and her blood pressure has gone up significantly, her cholesterol has gone up significantly, and we think there's really just maybe food and the way of life has affected it. I can't really put a finger on it, but I do know a person who had one health regimen and has changed in that much time. It raises some questions to us. So,
your rating.
Yeah. I guess I'm losing my train of thought. This also preserves ownership, and I think that's another valuable aspect. Is you've come from a home, most of these people have lived in their home a long time, and having to sell that and actually lose control of a residence is a little bit onerous too. So this is a model where you actually have some ownership in the property, and but you're sharing with the other people in the building the components that are in common, food and cooking, etc. But there's lower overhead to it. There's shared costs, so there's much lower overhead. Anyway, as we learn, I'm learning a lot more about this whole model, and as we develop the model, I still get very excited about it. I'm probably more committed to it now than I was in the early stages. I just see that the potential is quite significant in what we can do. So I think that's